It was the first time the hand of Franz had come in contact with that of the mysterious individual before him, and unconsciously he shuddered at its touch, for it felt cold and icy as that of a corpse. "Let us understand each other," said Albert. "It is agreed, is it not, that you are to be at number 27 in the Rue d'Elder on the 21st of May, at 10:30 in the morning, and your word of honor passed for your punctuality?" "The 21st of May, at 10:30 in the morning, Rue d'Elder, number 27, replied the Count. The young men then rose, and bowing to the Count, quitted the room. "What is the matter?" asked Albert of Franz, when they had returned to their own apartments. "You seem more than commonly thoughtful." "I will confess to you, Albert," replied Franz, "the Count is a very singular person, and the appointment you have made to meet him in Paris fills me with 1,000 apprehensions." "My dear fellow," exclaimed Albert, "what can there possibly be in that to excite uneasiness? Why, you must have lost your senses." "Whether I am in my senses or not," answered Franz, "that is the way I feel." "Listen to me, Franz," said Albert. "I am glad that the occasion has presented itself for saying this to you, for I have noticed how cold you are in your bearing towards the Count, while he, on the other hand, has always been courtesy itself to us. Have you anything in particular against him?" "Possibly." "Did you ever meet him previously to coming hither?" "I have." "And where?" "Will you promise not to repeat a single word of what I am about to tell you?" "I promise." "Upon your honor?" "Upon my honor." "Then listen to me." Folks, you won't know this until tomorrow. And I'm laughing because I know something you don't, which is what happens tomorrow, even though I didn't know what happened today until I read today. But tomorrow I won't know what we read today. Does any of this make sense? Okay, I'll be more explicit. I read these out of order, and I read tomorrow's episode before I read today's episode. So this is interesting connective tissue. And I guess I don't need to spoil tomorrow's episode, but it answered a lot of questions for me. I'm going to save my commentary for both tomorrow's episode for the episode after it. Does that make any sense? None of this is interesting to you. Let's just talk about today's episode, shall we? Okay. The very first sentence, very interesting to me. It was the first time the hand of Franz had come in contact with that of Dante, essentially. ... For it felt as cold and icy as that of a corpse. He shuddered at its touch. Okay. Now, are we to take that as a literal physical sensation? Is that just the mental game that Franz is playing with himself? He's talked himself into being intimidated or repelled by Dante. Then Dante obviously agreeing to Albert to meet him in the Rue du Elder. Albert from Elder? I don't know French. And after Dante leaves, immediately. This is an interesting insight into Albert as well. He's calling out Franz for how he treats the Count. And Franz is like, "Count, you gotta know, makes me a little nervous. I find him a bit sketch." And Albert is like, "What in the world are you talking about, Franz?" And Albert takes this approach that I don't know. I feel like I've had a number of moments like this in my own life over the last couple of years that is just not something you ever really want to encounter with anyone. When Albert says, "I am glad that the occasion has presented itself for saying this to you," and then he goes on to say how he's noticed how cold he is to Dante. And it always puts me off. It always puts me off. I'm not saying it's not justified from time to time, but there's something, and maybe it's just the accumulation of Albert's character at this point, where there's just something kind of presumptive about the way Albert is looking at the situation, not accounting for the fact that Franz might have a justification for feeling the way he feels, acting the way that he acts. I mean, he is open and asks the questions of, what's going on? Tell me about him. Have you met him before? Why do you feel this way? I mean, he's asking the questions as opposed to chastising him. And maybe it's the fact that he's saying how cold you are in bearing towards the Count, while he, on the other hand, has been courtesy itself to us. To me, it's kind of like Albert putting his own assessment of Dante in the correct and right column, and not necessarily Franz is in the wrong column, like you're wrong about this, but just the Like, I don't understand your approach. There is a little bit of passive aggressiveness maybe to it. I don't know. I'm reading too deep into this. What's more exciting is that it seems that Franz is going to reveal to Albert his history with Dante. How much? I know, because I read tomorrow's episode already. And what will Albert's reaction be? I kind of know, but I'm not going to spoil tomorrow. But the bigger question that I don't have the answer to is why? What is Franz hoping to prevent? I don't know. But things are heating up, and as we are nearing out book 38, I don't know where this is heading. I'm kind of nervous. I'll be honest with you. I'm a bit nervous that we are suddenly going to go into a completely different mode of storytelling with this book. And switch over to another set of characters and another situation and have to learn everyone all over again. I'm a little nervous about that because it feels like we've set up enough things now, and it's like, well, we're not going to stay in Italy. And if Albert's going home, then, like, who are we going to follow? Are we going to follow Dante? Are we going to follow Franz? Are we going to follow Albert? It feels like there's an inevitable break in the story about to come. And also, as well, too, I imagine we're coming up close to the end of part 2. Perhaps. I don't know exactly when that happens, but I can't imagine it's going to be too much later. At any rate, that is all I have for today. Join me here tomorrow when I didn't know a thing about today. And then join me for the day after that when I will know both what happened today and tomorrow so that I can better, more cohesively comment on what has been happening. Okay, until then and then, I'll see ya. Okay, bye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.